Punter.
Hello.
Hello, Punter. How are you?
Good.
Good.
How are
Thanks for
you?
joining us today. Going to be calling you your handle that you use on Twitter, respecting your privacy. You know, you're not the only person that has told me that through exposure on the net that they ended up being stalked. So that must have been a
Right.
pretty
So,
negative experience for you. So I'm going to respect your privacy. I've noticed your tweets for quite some time, Punter, and I told the community you specialize in the oil business. I went to your LinkedIn page and noticed that you started in the medical supply industry. What was a catalyst
yes.
that opened your eyes to the markets, and what was it like? Who do you blame? Who do you blame for you getting
Actually,
hooked on trading?
well, my dad was a trader, so um, that's who I blame. I tried to deny my roots for a long time,
Yes.
and eventually I just gave in. I got sick of the medical industry in California and I had it, so I decided that I was going to get into this business and I quit my job and I gave up everything and I moved to Chicago sight unseen.
Okay, that's my hometown. So, great place to learn. I was a runner on the CME floor, eventually had a seat there. Tell us about your initial experiences in Chicago. Did you have mentors or influences?
Yeah, definitely. Well, initially, I mean, it was very tough as a woman to get into the business. So I had to knock on every door and basically beg for my first job, which was at a brokerage. I didn't care. I just wanted my foot in the door and I wanted exposure to the
Right.
industry. And so I got my first job at a brokerage, which was, um, uh, I don't know if you've seen Boiler
Okay,
Room.
yeah, you can say it. A lot of them were. How long ago was that?
So that was back in 2008,
Okay,
2007,
okay,
2008. And actually, yeah, they actually got shut down by the NFA, having to do with something when I wasn't there and having to do with management. It was a whole different issue. So nothing really having to do with me, but it did give me that stepping stone into the industry.
okay.
And I just kept working my way up until I got into being able to trade full
Okay,
time.
so you were in Chicago. Did you relocate to Europe? Are you in Europe now?
Did no. I am back in Chicago. Oops, sorry about that. I am back in Chicago right now. I moved to Norway to go help set up a hedge
Okay,
fund uh, because I had experience as a broker and I knew, all the prime brokerages and things like that. So I went to go help them set up. So it was more of a contract situation. And the reason I took it is because, well, who wouldn't take
right. Okay, so
it?
what
So
attracted
yeah,
you? What attracted you to really decide to focus on West Intermediate term? The WTI crude market. What was it about that market that caused you to have a laser focus on just that?
well, I mean, a couple of things. I was a political science, international relations major, so I've always been interested in tensions, and I studied the Middle East a
Okay.
lot, and sort of that's where I got an interest in oil. But then, as far as trading it was concerned, what happened was when I was a broker, my very first trade that I put on for my very first client was an options trade in crude oil, and I think it was he paid $5,000 and it ended up being a $30,000 trade, and that was it. I was done.
Okay.
I was hooked. So, and then and initially I was just trading options in the crude oil
Okay.
market.
They say options are like relationships. 90% of them expire worthless. So
Yes.
you hit on some option trades. Was it during some type of geo event that drove the oil market in a very directional way? And then I'd
Yes.
like to get to your massive triangle that you're showing on the screen.
Yes. Yeah, that was in 2008, and as you can see
Okay.
here, this is
Oh,
2008.
so you were in puts for that decline. Wow.
Well, there were still a lot of up. I can blow this up more. There was still, there was a lot of up times too. So it was calls and puts. It was, whichever direction I thought the market was going. But you'll see, there was definitely a lot of movement. That was back in the day when you could have, $2 to $5 moves a
Right.
day.
So even the
Which
oil
was,
volatility, which has been better than FX, has compressed.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And you can see by, if I can get this back down.
So that looks like a major breakdown out of a triangle.
Right. So what I wanted to show, I was just going to start sort of from a macro and down to, 5 minutes. So this is a weekly chart. It's a 6-year weekly chart. Well, it's over 6 years, but the triangle starts at 2008. So basically, I was either looking for a breakout to the upside or the downside to this triangle. So you can see that we had a breakdown. So I'm still, regardless of the action that happened today, which crude is now falling, and hit my target. But I'm, besides today's action, I'm sorry, let me get back to that. I'm still bearish on crude for right now. We can go into that further. But I just kind of wanted to show you what I was looking at from a macro level and which way I was looking for it to break. Because the volatility it's still a volatile market, obviously, but it was getting really in a very tight range.
Okay.
So it so happens this broke down. Then I have up a daily chart, which kind of further explains why I remain
Looks
bearish.
looks like it could be a bear flag. Is that what you're thinking?
We have a bear. Yeah.
Okay.
It's what yesterday it was a bear pennant, but today it's a bear flag because it broke the pennant. So that's sort of something that I look for on the daily charts as far as daily chart patterns is. This is the low of the year at 91.37, which happened back in January. So that would be my initial downside target. Obviously, none of these things go straight down. And I'm a day trader, so I'm in and out of the market all day long. However, the levels I'm looking at start there, which we should get being a double bottom. Actually, it's a triple bottom. It's a triple bottom if you look back into 2012. So we should get a nice bounce there if you're day trading it.
Let me ask you this: with your background and having studied the Middle East, Tracy, any fears about what could happen if our president decides to begin airstrikes in Syria, where there could be some kind of geo event, and with Putin possibly opening a new front, that we could be setting up for a surprise rally in crude? And even though we've had that breakdown of that huge triangle, sometimes I've experienced major breakdowns. Sometimes the first move out of a major formation that looks like a breakout could be a fake out. What would change your mind and get you constructive on crude?
Right, exactly. Well, the thing is that if you see, let me do another chart. Let me come back to that one. Here's my 5-minute chart. So I was looking for these levels today to rally to after the news hit. Actually, before the news hit, the news was just sort of a catalyst. I'm more of a technical trader.
Was that the news about what Putin's up to? Okay.
Yeah, was Russia invading Ukraine. So, I mean, as far as anything happening in the Middle East, it's always going to spook oil up. Now, do I think it's going to spike all the way up and negate the downside? It's certainly a possibility. I don't foresee that. I see a spike, it spiked up $1. It could spike up $1 too without destroying the overall bearish picture.
Okay.
As far as that's concerned, because you also have to look at the crude oil market. I mean, we are heavily supplied here. We have Libya, who, despite tensions in Tripoli and all of that going on, they're beginning to produce. We have now decided the courts scrapped the embargo against the Kurdish oil, so now we can accept Kurdish oil. So we have that oil coming into the market. China just became a net exporter of oil because their usage is down 6.2%.
Interesting.
From June, and 1.2% from this time last year. So for the first time in a long time, they became a net exporter. So we have all of that flooding the market. They bought everybody's
right,
oil.
Yeah, they were devouring it. They were a big part of that move to 140 in 07.
Right. So now, they still, they had that deal with Gazprom and Rosneft, and they're buying Venezuela oil, and they're talking about a pipeline from Canada to China, perhaps, to import more crude oil there. However, at this point in their economy, their usage is extremely down, that they're now reselling it onto the market. So we have all these areas where you don't have supply disruptions, even though there's geopolitical issues, and usage is down by some major countries, i.e. Japan, China,
so the big, you're
so,
talking about we're awash in oil, and the big oil bears are looking for $70, $60 crude. Are you in that camp?
No, I'm not in that camp.
So what do you think? What do you think the ranges will be?
So I'm initially on the downside. I'm looking for, that 91 area for a bounce. Like I said, then the next area down, we would be looking at 90.25, which is a huge level. And then my next level down would be looking at the 88 level, which would be another triple bottom, going all the way out to 2010. And then as low as 84s, mid 84s, as a stretch. That's as low as I foresee it going. And I think because of geopolitical tensions and knee-jerk reactions in the crude oil market, that it's not going to, it won't get much lower than that. I mean, I personally think 88, but I'm not going to discount the 84 level as well.
Okay, do you trade any of the products or strictly crude?
Strictly crude.
I thought you're a prop trader. You want to give visibility to the prop firm that you trade through?
Oh, I am not in a prop anymore. I have private.
Do you have any service that you sell or market? Do you work and teach people, anything like that?
No, I mean, feel free. Anybody can ask me questions online and be happy to answer. But I don't sell anything or market anything.
Okay.
The information I give out is for free. The things I give out on Twitter are for free.
And why do you do that?
But I think that, it's important to give back to the community. I mean, there's a ton of wonderful traders out there with a ton of information and a ton of their time. And
so you're paying it forward by sharing your views.
Giving back to the trader community.
You've got the lot of spirit, Punter. So that's what we do. You're trying to build people up, and I too do a lot of intelligence gathering, and I've met so many great people on Twitter that I've interviewed. I include you as one, and appreciate your time today and giving us your views in the energy market, specifically WTI.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it was nice to meet you, and let's do it again down the road.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I don't know if people, just one more thing about the Brent market. You will notice that the Brent market didn't move at all, really, on this news, and still was low. And the spread actually came in $1. I do trade the spread.
Okay.
So what the implication is, if this was really a problem, what Putin's doing right now, Brent should be outperforming West Texas because Brent is a European source.
Exactly, it should. And that's why I also maintain my bearish point of view, despite what's going on.
Great observation. Thank you very much, Punter.
All right,
have a great Labor Day weekend, and looking forward to the Bears having a good season.
Yes,
my kind
absolutely.
of town, Chicago, is, Punter. But
yeah,
prefer the weather here in San Diego.
Yes, well, you know, I lived in California, so I get that.
All right, well, thank you. It was a pleasure. Appreciate and nice to know you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you again.
All right, I'm glad you enjoyed. We did as well. Have a great Labor Day weekend.
All right, you too.